Welcome to Weekly Stuff and Things with Mathew Ruybal. I'm Mathew Ruybal, and this is our 14th episode. Hooray, 14th episode. Cthulhu's excited. Are you? There are a lot of things to talk about, and one very specific thing I want to talk a lot about, so we're going to go through all of the little stuff really fast. Ready? There's a new gameplay trailer up for Arkham Knight. Link is in the show notes. Looks kind of like that. Go check it out. It's awesome.
Awesome!
The trailer is up for Big Hero 6, which is Disney's first animated film regarding the Marvel Universe. It doesn't show a whole lot, but looks like it's going to be pretty awesome.
Awesome!
The upcoming Batman vs. Superman movie finally has a title, Dawn of Justice, which probably alludes to the fact that they're booting up the Justice League. Surprise! Have you ever wanted to watch a movie where Steve Carell is a creepy killer with a prosthetic nose? Me too! Check out the trailer for Foxcatcher. That's based on a true story about a dude who kills this other dude. Steve Carell's the killer. It kind of looks awesome.
Awesome!
They're adapting another Mark Millar property. Mark Millar, of course, from Wanted and Kick-Ass. It's the new film called Kingsman Secret Service. The trailer is in the show notes. Looks like this. It looks pretty awesome.
Awesome!
On a sadder, stupider, dumb note, Edgar Wright has left the Ant-Man movie, citing creative differences with Marvel, which sucks because I really think Edgar Wright was perfect for making Ant-Man, with Paul Rudd starring, and now, you know, it's going to be some other director, and I'm not as excited anymore. This is like when Wolverine had Darren Aronofsky attached to direct, and then he couldn't because of that that he was married to, and their divorce, and then he couldn't leave the country or lose custody of his kids, so he couldn't shoot the movie, and then it got handed off, and then we know what happened. I saw a guy in Wired said it was what did he say? It was he called it an adamantiasco, and I thought that was funny alliteration. But yeah, that movie sucked. And now, is Ant-Man gonna suck now that Edgar Wright is leaving? I guess we have to wait and see who they get to direct. I think Matthew Vaughn should do it. What do you think? So it's almost June, and that means it's getting closer to July, which means it's gonna be almost August, which means Doctor Who is gonna be back on the air. Yes!
Awesome!
This is kind of a cool announcement. They have announced the director for the first Star Wars spin-off movie, the one that's going to come out in between episodes 7 and 8 in December of 2016. We think it's going to be a Boba Fett movie, but there's no confirmation of that just yet. The director they've announced is none other than Gareth Edwards, who just finished doing Godzilla and is still slated to do the sequel to Godzilla. Of course, he's the guy that did the independent film called Monsters, which we talked about before. Interesting choice. I'm not upset. I'm kind of not sure how to feel. It's an odd choice to me that they picked Gareth Edwards, but I guess we'll see. Now on to the pressing issue for the week. As you may have noticed on Facebook and on Instagram and Twitter, I said that I just went and saw the new X-Men movie, so let's talk about it. Going in, I was pretty sure it was going to suck real bad, because I didn't particularly care for the first X-Men movie or the second X-Men movie, not to mention the fiasco that was the third X-Men movie, Adamantiasco. X-Men Origins Wolverine was entertaining occasionally, but also just really bad. And then this most recent Wolverine movie, the plot was ridiculous. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. It was flat, and the characters were stupid, it was predictable, and the action wasn't good, and I really hated it. So I was really not excited, but the trailer looked so cool, and I thought maybe, my fingers were crossed, maybe it'll be good. And then I went and saw it, and it's pretty freaking awesome, actually. But there's a stipulation to that. X-Men Days of Future Past is pretty freaking awesome and the big if concerns time travel. Because this movie has time travel, and as we all know, time travel is an amazing device to sort out a crappy plot line or, you know, bad previous movies or whatever, because you can ultimately change everything if you want to. The caveat there is that with time travel, you create a bunch of weird questions and paradoxes, and it becomes convoluted, and you can really screw things up. So time travel is a good tool potentially, but if you use it wrong, it ruins everything. So the question is, did they use the time travel properly? Yes? Maybe? There's a lot of debate going on about this movie and the plot lines and what they have going on now and how things are actually going to work moving forward. And I have to say that the take I have on it, which I won't get into here because I don't want to give out any spoilers, is a positive one. I feel like they have changed or even erased a lot of the things that I don't like or didn't like about the previous films, because there's tons of conversation on the internets about, you know, well, if this, then this, but then how does this happen? And then yeah, but I mean, if they, you know, because if they did that and then this had to happen. Yes, but all of the things are fine now because they fixed it, and I don't know why I'm British. Oh, I'm British. But maybe if they did this with it, and then if that happened, then they. So it's just, you know, all over the place with the debating and the back and forth, and they think this, but this happened. So it's hard to say. But from what I got, I like what happens, and I'm gonna just run with what I think happened because it's good if that's what really happened. And we're moving into potentially really awesome territory because they've announced that he's going to go to the Apocalypse storyline. If you know anything about the X-Men, the Apocalypse story stretched into all kinds of stuff. Took over all the books at the time, all the different X-Men books and different teams and stuff, and it was a big thing. And potentially really, really, really cool. This film was in some ways much darker in tone than the first X-Men, X-Men 2, and we won't count X-Men 3 because it was really atrociously bad. Adamantiasco. Of course, we do have to count First Class, Mathew Vaughn's X-Men, which is still my favorite of the series, though you know, a lot of the fanboys didn't like some of the liberties that were taken with the storyline, which is funny to me because X-Men is one of the most convoluted comic stories in all of comicdom, with all the time travel and multiple Earths and all the things that go on. So it's funny that fans are like, that's not what happened. Like, well, dude, like, this happened, this happened, this happened, and this happened in the comics, so get over it. I like Mathew Vaughn's First Class. In fact, I think First Class and Days of Future Past would be a great day of watching movies, you know? Watch First Class and then watch this new one, and they go together really well. They were able to bring stuff from X-Men, X-Men 2, X-Men 3, even some of the other stuff into this movie in such a way that I thought it really worked. And of course, all the acting was wonderful, as usual, except Halle Berry, even though she only spoke like 2 or 3 times, was 2 or 3 times too many because she's absolutely terrible and they should recast her. Everybody else was great. Jennifer Lawrence is, you know, phenomenal and smoking hot in her blue thing. Ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. Yeah, so overall I really enjoyed this movie. I think that they have things back on track now, and moving forward some really great things I think are going to happen. So if you haven't seen it, I recommend seeing it. I'm surprised that I'm saying this right now. I really had written Bryan Singer off as not being able to direct action, but I'll tell you what, some of the action in this movie, there's one particular scene with Quicksilver, which you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you see it, that is one of the coolest scenes I've seen in a very long time in a film. So go check out X-Men Days of Future Past and let me know what you thought of the film after you've seen it. That's all this week. Fun things are happening. Obviously, Watch Dogs comes out on Tuesday. I'll be picking it up and playing the crap out of it. You'll be hearing about that in episode 15, most likely. And then all the other cool things that are probably going to happen this week. As far as saying goodbye today, I would say just make sure that you pay respects to Cthulhu so that when he comes back, he doesn't destroy you. Even though he probably will destroy you anyway, because he's Cthulhu. That's what he does. Nothing funny happened this week.